What's up, y'all? 602 Busa back at it, and it's about time that we do an oil change on the Busa. So as you can see, we got about 24,000 miles on the bike. I last changed the oil at 21,000 miles, and she's been through a lot this past year. We've had a track day together, hit up several mountains, so it's about time we get the oil changed out of this guy. And check the air filter, make sure that there's nothing going on inside of there, give that air filter a clean out. So I'm just gonna give you a little tutorial to show you how I like to change the oil and the things that I go through. So let's get started. So let's get into the tools and equipment we're going to use. We're going to be using just some standard premium 10W40 motorcycle oil. 4 quarts is what I've got here. I'm going to be using a high flow Filtro oil filter model HF138. These are on par with K&N, and the K&N model is K&N or KN138 if you're a K&N guy. I'm just using this because it's cheap and it's local. I also got a oil filter wrench that I'm going to use. If you have a K&N oil filter, you can use the socket that goes onto that if you like, or the box-end wrench to take that off. To get the fairings off though, you're definitely going to need yourself a small flat blade screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. Make sure the blade's small, and also a 4mm Allen key. I prefer to use the T-handle, it's easier for me to get those off. And of course you'll definitely want some rags, some stuff to wipe off any excess oil that may drip or what have you. Now I'd also recommend these items as well. Definitely have a good oil pan to catch all the oil that's going to drop out of the bottom of the bike. And this aluminum foil is going to come in handy later, so make sure you have a sheet of that laying around. That'll go over your exhaust headers, so that way when the oil comes out, it won't spill oil on your headers and you gotta smell that nasty burning oil smell. And also to a bike stand, that'd be nice. Only pit bull for us. So let's get to the job. And the last bit you'll need would be a 17mm socket. That's for the oil drain plug. I like to use a regular socket wrench to take the drain plug off, and then I like to use a torque wrench to put the oil drain bolt back on, and we'll go over the torque settings once we get to that point. Let's get going. Alright, so if you notice now, I've got the bike running. The reason is because oil tends to drip out of this bike, or any bike, easier when the oil's warm. So I'm gonna let the engine run for a little bit. I'm gonna let the temperature gauge get up to about half. I'll shut the bike off, and then we'll take it back inside and take off the fairings and get started with draining the oil. Okay, so now that we got the bike on the stand, let's go ahead and start taking off these fairings since the bike's already warmed up. I don't know if you could tell, that oil is pretty dark, so we definitely want to change that oil out. Don't forget to remove this pin. And you should have a pin back in there. Let me just show you what I did. There's a little tab right here. There's a little small tab right in there. You gotta make sure you lift up first. Lift up to get that out. Don't go back or forth. This little tab right there, you need to lift up to get out of that hole right there. Lift up. That's the trick. Don't try and pry it any other way. Now, get it free. That's it. Okay, so now that we've got the bearing off the bike, we're going to go ahead and remove the oil fill cap. This will help the oil breathe. Go ahead and get that oil fill cap off there, and we'll put that to the side. And then it's actually time to drain the oil. So you can look and see here, there's our K&N oil filter there. We're going to remove that. And if you look just below that, you're going to see that bolt right there. Yeah, that bolt right there, that's what we're going to remove with our 17mm. Now, since my normal oil drain pan that I was going to use is too tall to fit underneath here, I'm just going to use an old drain pan that I had laying around, and we're going to go ahead and drop the oil out. There we go, broke the bolt. So now, I'm going to go ahead and let it drain out. There we go. Just like that. Oil is draining. That's it. Okay guys, so while the oil is still kind of dripping down here, we'll let that finish up. I went ahead and put the aluminum foil right on top of the headers. So now when I'm going to take off the oil filter, the oil won't drip on top of the headers. And I angled it down so that way the oil should drip right back into the pan. So let's go ahead and take off that oil filter there. So yeah, that's that. Oil filter's drained. Old school K&N, definitely needs a change. You can look at that oil and tell. Also, while you're at it, take a look at your oil drain plug. Look to see if you see any metal shavings or anything like that on or around the plug. So far we look good here, but if you do find any metal shavings on or around your plug, that might be a sign that you got some damage somewhere in your engine. Definitely you don't want that. So now that we got the oil drained out, we're gonna put in our new filter. Go ahead and crack that sucker open, and we can remove the film on it. So this one looks like it's already pre-lubed. So normally what you want what you want to do is take a little bit of your old oil, dip a finger in there, and then just rub around the ring. You want to make sure that you get this seal, this rubber seal around here, nice and lubricated. And then we'll put that back on the bike. But it looks like ours is already done, so we'll just put this back in the bike now. Oh, and also too, before I forget, your torque wrench should be set at about 16.5 foot-pounds so you can tighten up the oil drain plug. Again, you want to make sure that you're tightening down your oil drain plug to 16.5 foot-pounds. At least that's what Suzuki says anyway. Okay, so now that we got the bike back together, got the fairing back on, let's go ahead and start adding some oil and get this guy back on the road. Now this should take about 4 quarts. I'm just gonna use a funnel to get the oil in. Now that right there, that looks good. Looks a lot different than what we started out with. So we're gonna go ahead and start the bike. We're gonna let the oil run through the bike again so that way we can make sure we got a nice good level of oil to work with. Be right back. So you see how far the oil went down. It was completely full, and then it went up to just above the lower level. I got a little bit of extra oil left. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to top it off so we get a nice full reading on the gauge. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. We got the oil change complete, oil filter along with the oil change. So if you like this video, leave a like, comment. It was a simple job. Really, it only takes you about, I wanna say, no more than an hour to get this done from start to finish. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how simple the job is. Anyone can do this as long as they're not afraid to do it and you got the tools available. 602 out.